This One's Wife. Insta 2025. Another new dawn? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. This One's Wife established her Insta account in June 2022. Nothing happened with it. 2023, she hinted at there being things in terms of a return to Insta. Nothing happened. 2024 was silent. But now, she has changed her profile picture and she has posted a video of her on a beach. Unsurprisingly, she didn't start by writing "when I was 11", but rather wrote 2025 in order to suggest that something's going to happen in this year. Presumably, this is another of the new dawns that she has sought to impose upon the world. Another rehabilitation, the 1052nd attempt to reinvent herself as something new because she's repeatedly failed. We have seen her attempt to be a politician and go nowhere. We've seen her attempt to be an author and go nowhere. We've seen her attempt to be a content creator, resulting in Spotify getting rid and being described as a fucking grifter alongside with her husband. Attempts at philanthropy fall flat on their face. Being a bananatarian is laughed at. That her attempting to break into the A-list has resulted in them saying, no, you're not. The lifestyle brand, being a guru in that regard, trying to emulate Martha Stewart and Gwyneth Paltrow, nope, she's failed at that. Time and time again, she has sought to reinvent herself. Some would say she at least is a trier. Well, yes, but that's just driven by her narcissism, which each time she fails tells her that wasn't your fault. Rather than sit there and recognise, actually, I'm not very good at this, am I? I should just enjoy being with my family. I've got money in the bank. I'll just stay quiet and live out a decent life in a large house with plenty of money and a husband and family. But she can't do that. For some narcissists, this bounce-back ability, if you will, this repeated attempts driven by their narcissism can prove to be useful because it causes them to try until they actually do succeed. But that usually is as a consequence of the fact that they do have a good idea, that they have a business that becomes viable, that they have some appreciable talent. That rather than give up, their narcissism suggests, that wasn't your fault, go for it again. That wasn't your fault, go for it again. And on the 3rd, the 7th, the 15th attempt, they get the hit single. They get the signing with the book publisher. That the business takes off. But invariably, there is some talent there which is harnessed. For this One's Wife, there isn't. She is a talent-free individual. But that's not going to stop her because her narcissism doesn't let her sit back and think, hang on a second, I've failed at all of these things. Why is that? It's me. I haven't got any talent. I'm not charismatic. I don't have a sense of humour and people don't like me and I've not been able to turn that around. It's time to wave a white flag and admit defeat. I am the problem. She will never, ever recognise that because her narcissism won't let her, which means she will keep on trying until people turn their backs upon her and she's no longer newsworthy. So long as people will comment about her, so long as people will talk about her, so long as people will react to her, the mainstream media know that she produces clicks and they'll keep reporting it. And that will keep encouraging her to keep on going. But what about this return to Instagram? Might it just be that this time she gets it right? Might it be that after all of those other failures, that this finally is the time that she gets it right? After all, when she ran the TIG, she had over 1 million followers and was probably doing all right out of the merch that she was flogging and maybe some sponsored posts, etc., and advertising revenue. Certainly it wouldn't be at the levels of income that she requires now. But given that she was reasonably successful in relation to the TIG, is this something that she could make a good fist of? Well, for that, You need to have some really viable content. And the problem is that when she was running the TIG, which was over 10 years ago, it's become a much more crowded marketplace in relation to the type of things that she does. People commenting about clothing, food, and travel. There are thousands of so-called influencers in that sphere. And therefore, other than the fact that she's famous, she has nothing that makes her stand out from the crowd. Furthermore, you actually have to put some effort in. And she's not very good at that, as I've explained, as a consequence of the fact of her rampant sense of entitlement. But she also has the bulwark of unpopularity. It's not like she's an unheard of person that is steadily in an embryonic way creating excellent content, and people go, hey, I like this influencer, I like this YouTuber, I like this blogger. They're entertaining and informative. I'm going to follow them and I'm going to tell my friends about them. The problem is, not only does she not really have anything interesting to tell us, that she would be operating in a crowded marketplace, but she's also vastly unpopular. But let's just find out. Let's see what the reaction has been to this announcement, to see, is there a chink of light at the end of the tunnel for her in relation to Instagram? Might this just be a success? Might the public be persuaded? Well, let's go below the line. Lucy comments, I wish them no ill, but they've caused a lot of pain to their respective families. It's time for them to quietly retire from the public eye, as we are no longer interested. I trust me. They can reinvent themselves over and over again, but I don't think it will make much difference. The damage was done a long time ago when they behaved appallingly towards their respective families. People have not forgotten how awful they were selling their woe me stories to the highest bidder, thus making the point that the unpopularity is insurmountable. Shira. This one's wife has teased a new project. Another one, she's always teasing and launching new projects and then nothing happens. Ms. Sophie replies, more like popping a bottle, open only to find that the fizz is long gone and it tastes awful. Going back to the point that I made separately about this might just be future faking. PJ11. It's been 5 years of trying and failing. Everything they touch or launch gets the same reaction as a skid mark on a hotel towel. The world has moved on. Neither have star power or are interesting. It will become another flop by the end of the year. Our time. So she vowed never to return to social media. It didn't take long for her to crave some sort of limelight. It's not going to end well. JPT. Poor old Megsy, trying her very best to look fun and relatable, not working, though. Alinsky. Why don't we have a media blackout on them? They are just not of interest. M3173 replies, seriously, let's all stop clicking on the news stories about them as our shared New Year's resolution. Fairies and Pixies, for goodness sake, does she honestly think that anyone is interested in what she has planned for 2025? Anything she has turned her hand to has failed so very spectacularly. I think most people have now got to the stage where they all expect a failure. They don't expect that anything she does now will be worthwhile, a success, or of any interest whatsoever. She is talentless, extremely unlikable, and I would bet my life that her next venture will fail as spectacularly as all the rest. She is finished. Lakes Walker, desperate to try and remain in the public eye despite demanding privacy. But Group 1, all those opportunities, and she threw them away just to become another social media influencer. No one will buy whatever she plans to sell next. English resident. Don't kids usually like running about on a beach with mum and dad? Strange, most family beach pics include them. Not even a rear view this time. Born Free responds, she always has to be the main attraction. The kids would be a distraction. Ouchies. She's not really reading the room, is she? Bike rider. She needs to put things right with her father while there is still time. They have treated him in a cruel and vindictive way for futile reasons, doing enormous damage to their reputation. Lorraine, I can't imagine why anyone would admire or follow her. There are many strong female leaders and founders. She is not one of them. Annabelle 80. This one's wife thinks she's a film star, being filmed running on the beach and writing 2025 What is she doing? She just thinks about herself and nobody else. Sybil Unrest. Good job she's got huge webbed feet by the beach. The water will wash away the 2025 like all her projects, schemes and plans, another desperate attempt at something. And that's just a flavour. It doesn't appear that anybody expects her to succeed, that this new dawn is going to descend into darkness yet again. What do you think, valuable viewers? Do you think this time she'll get it right and that she will make a success of things, regularly posting on Instagram? Or do you think that this is just another failure, either future faking or it'll just be used for the purposes of clapping back at people? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.